Hello. I am getting ready to do the Alyssa Hip Bag by Kaya Papaya Designs. This is a cute little crossbody. It's got tons of pockets, and I'll put a link to the pattern in the description below. This, I won't be giving away, obviously, any measurements, but this is a really cute bag. I have one that I've made. All the others are gone, but so here it is. It's not big. It's got a belt loop here if you want to. I won't be doing that on this one. That one has a flip lock, but it's got a huge front pocket. That's where I can put my large iPhone. And then on the inside, you have a zipper pocket. You have a slip pocket in front of the zipper pocket. And then you have, on the other side, you have credit card slots and another slip pocket. Plus the interior of the bag. Which, there's actually plenty of room. And then this one has an adjustable strap. I will be doing an adjustable strap, crossbody strap on this one. So these are just so cute and really surprisingly roomy. So for today's bag, I'm going to be using some rose gold hardware, 3/4 inch strap. So I need two swivel clasps, 2 D-rings, a adjustable slider, and here's the fabrics that I'm going to be using. So I'm using a cotton lining, and all of those pieces are interfaced with woven interfacing. And then I'm going to be using a brown cork that coordinates. It's just going to be so pretty. So that is the front pocket, that piece right there. I've already started working on my adjustable strap, 3/4 inch. And then this is my handle connectors. I'm do it in one piece, and then I will cut it in half to put my D-rings on. This is the small slip pocket, again, lined with woven interfacing. This is a large slip pocket. There are 2 of those, and those are also have woven interfacing on them. The credit card slot, she gives you how to fold them and everything. There's 4 credit card slots that are up and down this way. So there's those. Then you have your gusset. Your interior gusset is where the handle connectors go. So she mentions putting an extra piece of, I put Decaville Heavy there to keep those secure. And then I'll also be putting a rivet in there. And then you have a zipper pocket. I'm using cream zipper tape with rose gold zipper coil. And then for my zipper, I'm going to be using a zipper overlay. So I already have the tape on that. And then just to keep in mind, your credit cards have little wings to them, and they should be mirrored. So keep that in mind. Again, woven interfacing on the back. And let's see, she does give you pieces for your stabilizer. The exterior 2 pieces have foam on them out of the seam allowance. And then just 1 interior lining with woven interfacing. The flap has 1 inch lining piece. And then there is Decaville Heavy out of the seam allowances on that. And then just the exterior in my cork. So it seems like a lot of pieces, but it goes together very, very well. And then you have an exterior gusset as well, and it has a piece of Decaville Heavy in the middle before you sew it all together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my handle together. I'll fast forward that. And then I will be putting my D-rings together. I am not going to sew them yet. I might. I haven't decided. Because then you have to sew over your stitching. So I'm not sure I like that. So I'll decide. But we'll get started. And I'm using brown Tex 45 thread today. So we're good to go. So thanks for watching. Be sure and click and subscribe. Thank you. All right, so I finished the strap, and I did put rivets in it on both ends. So that's going to be a very nice strap in cork. I did also prepare the handle connectors. We won't put those on till later. I did go ahead and sew those. Not a big deal. And then I put double-sided tape so they're ready to be put on. And they're just make sure they're the same size. It's not absolutely critical, but it does help. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is the flap. And let me see what the seam allowance is here. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to sew from the lining side. I'm going to put my little, my plate here doesn't have a 3/8 seam allowance. So I'm just going to put my little, I don't use this very often, but I do sometimes. Okay. Now I'm going to use a magnetic snap. So I can put, and it's a rivet magnetic snap, so I can put that through both layers. I think she does give you 2 options for the flap in the pattern. I personally just like the look of this one, just with slightly rounded edges. Yeah. All right, I'm not going to close that up. I am going to trim this down to about 1/4 of an inch or so. And then we will insert the magnetic snap once I get it turned and top stitched. I didn't do a very good job of adhering my Decibel Heavy, but that's okay. Once I get this turned, it'll lay flat. I knew that when I put it on. I thought, I didn't do that very well. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. All right, so there's your flap. So let's sew around that at 1/8 of an inch. And then we will put our, and I'm going to go ahead and close the top since I don't need to get in there for any reason. You could just put a piece of Peltex in there now before you do the top stitching. That would absolutely work. Yeah, let me find my pattern piece. There it is. Need that here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. All right. I'm going to increase my stitch length here. Increase my stitch length just a little bit. I had it on a 3.5 when I was doing the handle because the handle's only 3/4. I always go a little smaller on my stitch length for anything under 1 inch. I think it just looks better. All right, and then I'm going to close up that top. Okay, I did not check my bobbin. I should probably do that. So there you go. That looks pretty good. All right, so now let's put our magnetic snap I'm going to put it about 1 inch up. Let me just put a center mark here. I'm going to need that anyway for when I attach the flap. And I'm just going to go up. From the bottom. There we go. About 1 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to use my little hole punch here. And grab my male end of my snap. Doesn't really matter. Oh dear, there it went. So there it is, and then I'll go over and press that. So that's the male ends right there. All right, so I'll do that here in a second. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to attach that to the back outside panel. One of the back outside panels. So I think what I'm going to do first though, and I'll go off camera and do this, is put my label right here. There's multiple places you could put it, but that's where I'm going to put it. So I'll be right back. All right, so she gives you the measurement to measure down and then attach that to the back panel. I put my tag there, right sides together. And then just base that in place at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you just want to make sure that you have the same amount on each side of the flap on that back panel. So you can see I have a really about the same. So, perfect. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, and now we're going to work on this front pocket piece. The pattern gives you places to mark your front and your back. First of all, we're going to sew them together, right sides together, and I've marked my centers. It's kind of a unique shape, which gives a nice finished front pocket piece. So sew those together at the seam allowance in the pattern. Just go slow because of its unique shape. Just go slow. And then we will turn this right side out and top stitch it. And she tells you to trim this to about a half. You know, it's interesting because some patterns don't want you to trim the seam allowances, some do. I always was told that you should. All right, so now let's just turn that right side out and make sure that you have it really good and flush because of that unique shape. And if you're using all cotton quilting, you could certainly iron it. Some more clips here. Cork I could iron, it doesn't really like it. So I try not to if I don't have to. I could do it on the other side because the inside of this is cotton quilting fabric, but I've just gotten in the habit of just rolling my seams. So I think I'm good. The other part of the magnetic snap goes on here as well, but because I'm using rivets, I'll just do it when I'm done with this piece. Okay, so there you have it. And let's just top stitch that. You know what? I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna check my bobbin first. All right, so you have your front pocket sewn together, and that's where I'm going to put my rivet. So I'm going to do that next. And I am going to put a little piece of Decaville Heavy in there, just because this is cotton and then quilting fabric, and there's really nothing in there besides that. So I'm just putting a little piece there. Okay. So now I'm going to go press this rivet and the rivet on the flap, the magnetic snap, and then we will come back and we're going to fold on the marks in the pattern. Going to fold both ends this way and top stitch at a 1/8 inch seam allowance on both sides. So the front one you mark on the front. And do both of those, and then we'll come back and do the lining portion. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so we did that. Burn any threads that you have laying around. And then, so that's what it looks like. It looks kind of weird. But now we are going to do the same thing just on the inside, on that line that she gives you in the pattern. And just make sure everything, the outside and the lining is staying together. I'm going to do both sides. This is, you probably can't see this line. I don't know if you can. It's very light. It's one of those air erasing pens. I can see it. Trust me, it's there. So this is what is creating that front, kind of an accordion pocket. And again, we're just going to sew at a 1/8 inch seam allowance. And if you notice, I'm sewing from the inside this time, the lining side. The previous stitching was on the outside. I remember the first time I did this, it took me a few minutes, longer than I'd like to admit, to figure out what I was supposed to do here. Once you get it, it's pretty easy to understand, but man, I just had a block. I did change my bobbin and I had about 3 inches left. So I'm glad I did. Always check your bobbin when you're going to do any visible stitching like this. So there you have it. There is that front accordion type pocket. Now I am going to go and just stitch across the bottom, just at a basting stitch. I think she tells you to do this in the pattern, but here. Okay. Oh, I'm throwing things. All right, so now we are going to attach that to our other outer piece. So find your seams, your centers, I should say, your centers. So on your last outside piece, find your centers. And I didn't do what I always preach, and that is to do them before you get started. That way you don't have to waste time doing it now. I mean, you have to do it at some point, so I suppose it doesn't matter. All right, now we are going to just attach those centers together. And mine is a little on the small side. That's interesting. Mine is a little on the small side. I don't know why, but it will be okay. You know, I wonder if I wasn't supposed to base that down. That's probably why it's doing that. Let me pull that out a little. Yeah, that's why. So I probably wouldn't base that bottom. You could base the sides, but I probably wouldn't base that bottom because you need that to pull out just a little so it matches that side. Yeah. It's still a little small, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, so again, make sure you're matching those centers and then base that in place all the way around. I'm just making sure I have the same amount on top. Yeah. Okay. So that's what you should have. So that's a really big front pocket. And I am just going to clean that up just a little. There we go. All right. So that's what you should have. Isn't that just so cute? And your flap is going to come over and clip right there once you get the gusset on. I love it. Okay, so I will go get the other pieces ready and we will proceed. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is attach our gusset to our front panel. And here's that Decaville Heavy that I put in the outside gusset. So now we're just going to sew around that at the normal seam allowance that she shows us. Here, let me turn this light on. There we go. And then we will repeat it on the other side. All right, so like with a lot of my bags, the outer, I will go around one more time just on the seam side, just real quickly, and then I will attach the other side. Okay, so we're ready to start our lining. We finished our exterior, turned it out right side out just to check it, to see how it was, and it looks really good. And now we are going to, so we turned it wrong side out again. We're gonna work on the lining. So I already did one of my handle connectors on this side. She gives you the measurement for that. I am gonna go ahead and do this one. And then we will make a hole for the rivet. We're not gonna put the rivet in yet because we end up putting the rivet through the exterior and interior. It'll make more sense when we do it. And I've started just going backwards on some of these so I don't worry about my hardware. That way I don't have to worry about getting a hump jumper or any of that. Works out pretty well actually. Okay, so I'm gonna mark for my rivet right there in the center. Make my hole. And so that is ready to go. So that's my lining gusset. I will go ahead and clip my centers. So I have those already clipped. So I don't have to worry about doing that later. All right. So the next thing I did was on my credit card slots, she gives you really good directions on this. So I folded that up. I top stitch across these two folds, and then I refolded them, making sure these were even, and I just divided them right down the middle. And so you do want to double check your card slots that they look pretty good. And they're good on both all four. Okay, excellent. So now we're ready to put our little wings on for the sides. And all these are is we're gonna line those up on both sides and do a stitch. Let me double check it, but I know what it is. Okay. And then we will turn those over and top stitch those in place. Perfect. Now, before I top stitch those, I am going to just double check my credit card slots again. Yeah, we're good. It's a good idea to do that. All right, I could take this over and iron it, but I don't really need to. So I'm just going to top stitch that with your seam allowance going towards the outside. It's going to want to naturally do that anyway. So do that on both sides. And there you have it. I think I'm just going to trim some of that excess interfacing off there. All right. So there you have it. Now we are going to do the pocket, the slip pocket. And you don't have to do this, but I don't know. I think it adds a little bit. Not my zipper pocket. We'll do that next. I think it's this small slip pocket. Let me just verify that. Yeah, the small slip pocket. And all we're going to do is fold that right sides together. And we are going to stitch down both sides, leaving the bottom open. Okay. And again, that's the standard seam allowance she has. And then we will turn that right side out and top stitch. And then put that on our credit card slots. And I'm going to trim these seams up a bit here. And you want to get those corners out pretty good. If you can't do it with your fingers, then do it with some kind of a tool that you have. That actually looks pretty good. And then let's just top stitch that. Okay, burn any threads. That was a big one. Okay. Alright, and now I'm going to just find the middle of that, so that we might find the middle of that, so when we put it on our credit card slot side, we can get it pretty good in the middle. All right, so I got that in the middle. Now I'm just gonna stitch down each side and just across the bottom. Okay, so there you have it. There's your credit card slots back here and your slip pocket. So what a lot of people use that is for cash, and then your credit cards back there. So that one is done. Okay, I'm just gonna trim some of this up a little here. Okay, so that side is done. Our gusset interior is done. We want to do our zipper, and we want to do our other large slip pocket. Okay. Let's see what she has you doing first. She has you doing the zipper pocket first. Okay. So what we will do, because I'm doing a facing, is we will measure down, and I'm just gonna, oh, I got some interfacing here. I did a terrible job of fixing my interfacing. Don't know what I was doing. It's not a big deal, but I like to have it cleaned up before I start putting things together. All right, so I'm gonna come down. She does a zipper, not an overlay, she does a facing. So I'm gonna come down an inch. Actually, I think I'm gonna come down 3/4 of an inch, but I am going to mark my centers first. Sorry, I'm a little obsessive about those, that interfacing. Okay. Mark your centers on both the top and the bottom. And then because we're not doing the facing, we're doing an overlay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna come down 3/4 because I have a good 1/2 inch here as well. Okay, I just lightly marked the center of my overlay. And then I'm gonna put that in place right there. And take the bottom piece of tape off. You know, I really like this tape, but it struggled getting the tape off. All right, so now I'm just gonna sew around the outside, and then I will cut the hole so I can put my zipper in. Then I will make my zipper pocket. So I'll put one side, right side up, just like that. My zipper is right side up, my zipper pocket is right side up. And then I will put the other one on just like that as well. All right, so I'm gonna fast forward that. All right, so we have our zipper installed, and we are going to leave the bottom open. So we are going to turn it right side up, turn that side back, and sew down the sides only. And just like you've seen me do in other videos, you want to turn that bottom up about 1/4 of an inch on both sides. It just makes it easier when you go to finish the pocket. All right, and do the very same thing on the other side. And then we'll cut that excess zipper off with my zipper scissors. On both sides. Burn the end of your zipper tape just so it doesn't fray in the future. And there we have, so when we go to, we're going to turn the bag obviously through here, but when we go to finish up the bottom, and I say I'm going to turn the bag through here, I may actually leave an opening in the bottom of the bag. I'll have to wait and see. I'm just putting some clips on there to kind of remind it where it's supposed to be. So there you go. There's your zipper pocket. Cute, cute, cute. All right, so now we are going to create our larger slip pocket. So I just put those two pieces together, and I'm going to sew across the top. Let's see what her seam allowance is for this. Let's see. Yeah. And then just like any other slip pocket, we're going to flip that over and top stitch that. Now this is all cotton, so I could go and iron it, but I'm not going to. It doesn't need it. Okay, let's top stitch that. You know, something to keep in mind is I'm using a dark thread. So any little boo-boo on top stitching or any of that is going to show. So if you don't feel comfortable with your top thread showing like that, then I would just use a coordinating thread. All right, so I'm going to get my center of my large slip pocket here. And then we're going to attach that to the side here with the zipper. And really all we're doing here is I'm just going to baste that in place. These clips are in my way, so I'm going to have to move them. It's all right. So there you go. You have your zipper pocket, and then you have a really good size slip pocket there too. A lot of people use this to put their phones inside the bag. All right, so there we go. You could actually, if you wanted to, divide this. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to. You could divide it in two. You would just need to pull the zipper pocket up and out of the way. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Because I could use, I think I'm not, because I use that, I would use that for my phone. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. You can, though, just so you know. All right, so our zipper pocket side is done. Our credit card slot and our slip pocket is done, and our gusset is ready to go. So let's just make sure we've got all our centers marked. I'm just going to clean that up just a little. All right. So same exact process. I think I'll start with this side, doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll start with this side. Same exact process as we did the outer gusset attachment. I did not have to clip any round corners here. I don't know if I'll have to on this side or not. We'll have to see. But that same process. Now, when I get over to this side, I am going to leave a good portion open here. I'm going to decide that when I get there. I may just turn it through that zipper pocket instead. We'll see. I think she just has you turning it through the zipper pocket. It's a good size zipper pocket, so it should be fine. And I'm using cork, so it's not terribly heavy to turn. All right, I am going to clip my gusset just a little. Yeah, that's better. See if this side needs it. Oh, I think it does. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. You always want to, unless the pattern specifically says, you always want to flip your gusset as opposed to your panel. And really the reason for that is you want to just make sure that your panel isn't disrupted. The gusset you can do a little fudging on, but you can't really on the panel. All right, so I'm going to sew that on at the seam allowance in the pattern. And actually, she does have you leave a large opening here. So I'm going to do that. That's funny because I would have normally done that, but I didn't want to if she didn't tell you to. So I'm going to just mark that. And she has you leave a really big opening. I think I'm just going to do from here over to here, which should be absolutely fine with the fabric that I'm using. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we finished, excuse me, we finished the lining, and now we are putting, I turn the right lining right side out, so I have the right side here, and the outer bag is wrong side out. So I am putting these two together, and my foam is starting to come up just in spots, so I'm putting a little piece of double-sided tape there just to keep it down. Yeah. All right. So we're just going to put those inside each other. We're going to match up our seams at the top all the way around, and then we will do that seam allowance. And I didn't mark my centers on that. That's very annoying, but that's okay. And you kind of on your seams do one way and one the other. Kind of nestle those seams, as they call it. Your outer seams are going to want to go one way or another. And actually with this fabric, it'd probably be fine. Doesn't really matter. It's not that significant. So this is a small bag. So you're going to just want to go slow here. And here, if you want to put a piece of tape, which I think I will, I'll just put a piece of 1/8 inch tape just to keep that in place. Because you really can't clip there. And you really can't pin it there. So I'm just going to use a little piece of double-sided tape, 1/8 inch. Shouldn't gum up anything. It's one reason why I really like the 1/8 inch. I can get it to, the paper doesn't like to come off the, this is a weft and warp tape. And it doesn't, the paper doesn't like to come off. It tears real easily, but it's a little bit of a pain. Like that didn't stay down there. All right, so let me use a 1/4 inch. That didn't work. See how easily it tears, but it doesn't want to stay where you put it. I mean, the paper, it stays once you get it on there and then you can get the tape off. It stays perfectly. But getting the tape off, isn't always, but sometimes it's a pain. I don't know why. But otherwise, I really do like it. All right, let's see if this 1/4 inch works better. No. Not so far. All right, let me get this and then I'll come back. Okay, I had to resort to my Cellrite tape, and I had trouble with that one even, so it wasn't the weft and warp tape in particular. Very weird. All right, so I am going to start on the side here, and just over here on my seam. Oh, goodness. Let me get that out. Sorry. Get my needle out of the way, that might help. There we go. All right. Goodness gracious. Okay, there we go. And be sure and backstitch a couple times across where the flap connects. But remember, this was the hardest part of the entire bag because of the space is so small. Doable. All right, let's backspace because I'm right there at the edge. If you have a free arm, it's obviously going to be, there we go, 100% easier. just maneuver your bag. Squish, squish, squish it if you need to. Make sure your, yeah, my D-ring. I gotta push my D-ring out of the way. There we go. Okay, let's see how we did. Not bad. All right, let's turn it through our zipper. Don't forget to undo your zipper. It's not a big deal if you don't, because you can't get it, but I did. I forgot to unzip it. Okay, so now we are just going to turn the entire bag. I'm just trying to get in there and see what I see. Oops. Pull your lining out. I'm going to have to put some double-sided tape there because I got overzealous and I pulled on my gusset piece a little bit. Not a big deal. There we go. Okay. So you pull your lining out. And I forgot that we left a hole in the bottom. So this is going to be much easier to pull the exterior. So just reach in there and grab the exterior and just work it out through the bottom hole that you left in your lining. It'll take a little bit of pushing and pulling, but it'll come. It's really hard to show this on camera because you have to get it pulled close to your body so you can actually pull it. There we go. It's coming. There we go. It makes you sweat. Okay, here we are. All right, let me push it all out. Beautiful. So now that hole in your zipper, your interior zipper, we can pull that lining through and close that off. Close up our zipper and then we can top stitch it. Very, very similar to a lot of bags and how they're closed and birthed. Okay, let's clip that. Get your zipper lining out of the way. Do you see all that fraying? I'll just be honest, that's why I like working with waterproof canvas instead of cotton. You can, you know, use pinking shears, all of that, to keep your cotton from fraying like that. And this is all interfaced as well, so. When I started, I sewed exclusively with cotton. All right, so let's just close that at your seam allowance, and you can see where your seam started. So we're going to start there, and it's exactly the same on the other side. So we will get the bottom done. Make sure you're not catching your zipper pocket. Okay. All right, we'll push that back in to the bag. And then we'll close up our zipper pocket. And then we have top stitching to do and adding those rivets to the handle. We already completed our handle, so we'll just have to attach that. Okay, let's just give that a quick top stitch. I'm thinking about putting my walking foot back on. I've been using my zipper foot for so long, I forget the conveniences of my walking foot, so I might go back and try it. All right, let's do a little burning of our hairs. Goodness. Okay. All right, and now we can push that back into the zipper pocket. And get our lining. I'm going to zip my zipper pocket up so I can see what I'm working with. There we go. All right. Oh my gosh, it's taking shape. So now what you need to go along and do is roll your seams up so that when we're ready to top stitch, everything is nice and even on the top. So go ahead and do that all the way around. All right, so we have it. Isn't that just so cute? Huge little front pocket here. all kinds of pockets on the inside. So now what we need to do is on the interior, you already did your hole through that gusset. So we're gonna go all the way to the outside. So this is gonna be really hard to see. Let me see. And I may actually not be able to do it with this tool. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to my other hole cutter over at my my rivet hole cutter, my cam snaps hole cutter, but those rivets go all the way through. So it is really helpful to have already punched those. So I'll get those going and I'll be right back. All right, there we have it. So there's the rivet on that side and the rivet on this side. It was too deep for me to get with my hole punch. So I just had to go over to my cam snap. Now you could easily do that with a hand rivet press, like a hole where you hammer it. That would work as well. And then I've attached my, let me turn you over here just a little. My adjustable strap. So there it is. It is just the cutest little thing. So there you have it. You can put your phone in there. You've got, right inside the front, you've got 4 credit card slots. You've got a cash slot. And then here you've got another large pocket and a zipper pocket. I mean, it's got, and then just on the interior, I mean, there's plenty of room for stuff, really. And this cork, I tell you, I really am sold on cork. It's so lightweight. It doesn't add anything to your bags, but you can see how the inside handle connectors just come out those sides. Oh, sorry, that really shook the camera. Absolutely adorable. There we go. Cute, cute, cute. Now you could do a contrasting flap here. So for example, I could have done my cotton on the outside. That would have been pretty too. But look at that. That's big enough for I have an iPhone 14. That would work. And then you got all these pockets on the inside. So that is the Alyssa Hip Bag. A very cute, and it is a really pretty easy to sew. I'd say the hardest part is doing the top, stitching around the top before you birth it. And then once you birth it, it's not too bad. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. Be sure to like and subscribe and feel free to comment. I read all the comments. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.